My argument with so much psychoanalysis is the preconception that suffering is a mistake, or a sign of weakness, or a sign even of illness, when in fact, possibly the greatest truths we know have come out of people's suffering. That the problem is not to undo suffering or to wipe it off the face of the earth, but to make it inform our lives, instead of trying to cure ourselves of it constantly and avoid it, and avoid anything but that lobotomized sense of what they call happiness. There's too much of an attempt, it seems to me, to think in terms of controlling man rather than freeing him, of defining him rather than letting him go. Mm-hmm. And it's part of the whole ideology of this age, which is power mad.
Hey, have you heard about the crazy new way to send a message today? It's flashed on a screen, too quick to see, but still you get it subliminally.
It is Tuesday the 13th of May 2014. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show, 8:45pm. And it feels a little bit like summer out there.
It does, yeah. It feels like April showers to me. We're a month behind.
At least we're waking up at last, you know. It's been a hell of a long run, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Right, we're doing this show live from our North Yorkshire headquarters.
We certainly
here
are.
In the sunny city, the UK's fourth smallest city of Ripon, North Yorkshire. Possibly one of the sleepiest places, I think, in the UK. After 5 and maybe even 6 years now of trying to increase our merry little band. Not been easy, has it?
It's not
been easy at all.
Not at all.
Remember the first tool we found was Facebook, wasn't it? And after refusing to get involved with it, along with YouTube.
Yeah.
You refused to begin with.
I did, yeah.
And we thought...
shunned it.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah.
But the paranoia was still there, wasn't it?
It was,
and it's still all over Facebook and YouTube now.
Yeah.
It still exists, isn't it? It's the nursery, it's the creche, it's the playground, it's the starting point. Some people never leave, do they?
No.
They never, ever leave. And that's because they don't want to. They actually don't want to. The animation of the persona, the enabling of the I'm more than I thought I could be, is possible on YouTube and Facebook. They are perfect tools to fool us.
Yes, they
YouTube
are.
being, it's a video library for people too thick or stupid to read. Okay, it's perfect, isn't it? We're convinced now that watching things is the way forward. Okay, it's what's got us in this mess, watching other people. And yet still, we go to YouTube and watch other people. And many people say, chuck the TV out. And then they replace it with this. Yeah. As if this is somehow better. This is just choose your own brainwashing, isn't it?
It is.
This is choose your own method of brainwashing.
Personalised.
Yeah, you can have whichever. Now, the only way that we can have got to this point is that everything, to some extent, that we must be able to have access to, must be in some part mostly wrong, partly wrong, or even slightly wrong, just to put us off track.
Yep.
And do we find that the people who actually stay with YouTube and Facebook, and I feel I include myself to some point, I'm a little embarrassed because it's time to grow up, isn't it? It's time to grow up and leave it, because that's where people start. It is time to graduate and leave the down place and keep going in to check on the kids and see how they're doing.
Say it's a point of. It should,
see if there's
should be a point of reference.
Yeah, see if there's any kids to go back and see if there's any kids you can help to get out of there.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of sort of trying to do that over the past week or two or three with one or two or three people. I've been talking to them. They're not ready to come out yet. They're not ready to leave. They're too busy fighting in the playground.
Yeah.
They think they're actually in lessons. They think they're actually learning something of value. And of course they're not doing that at all. Because there is something that, we always use the word research. And the word research is used by all levels of this intelligence.
Yes.
This intelligence uses research all the time. And yet a little bit of common sense, which is hard to find and not so common, it would tell you straight away the word research indicates that all you're doing is finding out for yourself. You're not actually adding to the known. You're not increasing or moving forward in any way the actual method of creation, as it were.
No.
You're just digging and finding it for yourself.
No, you're reacting, you're not creating.
Exactly. Spot on. So the fact that we're researching means that we might actually move ourselves on a little bit. But in the bigger wheel of things, we're only actually repeating what others have already done, which means that we cannot get out of the field that we're in. We may research it very closely, we may get to the hedges, we may get to the gates, but the research doesn't allow us to go any further. In other words, Facebook and YouTube and the internet is just a research model. It still keeps you within the field. You can't leave, because all you're learning is already known by other people. So you're just becoming another number in you know now too. So what difference does that make to the real bigger picture? The answer is no difference at all. This is a perfect way to hold back an entire nation's development, to control its access to information. You can hold back an entire nation's development by making them research and find out for themselves. And they do that because they feel rewarded when they've done it. But they haven't learned anything that isn't known by those above them.
No.
In other words, you cannot equal or you cannot surpass those above you, because the tools you're given only allow research.
Yes.
It's a bit like a karaoke challenge, isn't it? You can learn all the words for the song. You can even change the music a little bit. You could even change a verse or two. But you've not made anything new. It's just you think it's yours. You think you've personalised it. And this is what's happening with the awakening for me. That there are so many flavours out there that people just personalise it. And depending on the level of intelligence, you either read or you don't read. And reading on the internet is not reading. Okay, you either read or you don't read. If you don't read, you're down with the depths. Don't be surprised in the system that's been designed, and this system is designed perfectly well, that those that will accept the indoctrination education system, those that will accept that copy and repeat on demand is the way to succeed, those that will accept that, they are the most successful. And those that don't accept it, the rebels, the people who didn't like school, the people who didn't like exams, the people who wanted to make their own way, they're the ones that find it the hardest to succeed. In other words, the best copiers are rising through the ranks. The copy and repeaters. And the worst copier and repeaters are down at the lowest level. And then we get access to here, and now somehow we think we're expert copy and repeaters. Well, to who? Who's listening? Okay, who's listening? When you first kick off with this, you actually think that there's going to be a knock on my door, and I'm going to be in trouble for speaking like this. But over time, you soon learn that they couldn't care less what we say or what we do.
No.
Because we have no power. We have no power. Now, there are loads out there. I've had 2 problems this weekend, and I can see another one coming. People who've got no money, a crappy education, they don't work, right? And they think that they're going to change something apart from themselves. Well, no, they've no intention of changing themselves. What they want to do is criticise the system so it changes for them.
Yeah.
Well, this is all well and good in the land of the 4-year-olds. In the land of the grown-ups, okay, that generates the productivity to actually make a life for you to live in the land of the alive and living, the productive, that isn't going to work. It doesn't feed you. You have to work out how to do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
These are the 3 and 4-year-olds that are copying and quoting other voices, invisible deities across the internet. They copy and repost and criticise everybody, right, who's working and producing. This, of course, will make 0 friends and plenty of enemies.
Yep.
This is childish. This is ridiculous. You're either in and you're going to try and make a difference, or you're out and criticising. And if you're out and criticising, don't expect those that are in and trying to make a difference to be actually listening to you. I actually posted on the fight book scenario this evening. I actually posted a news article I'm going to use a little bit later if we get time. And it's about the civil liberties, or we might as well just call them rights, that have been taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go through that post bit by bit, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm a little bit rattled this evening. But you and I, previously I'll come back to that. I will come back to that because I want to come back to it, because it's rattled me greatly. And it's not the person who's done it that's rattled me. It's the mentality that's allowed it to be. It's the mentality that's allowed it to happen, that is pervasive throughout the lower levels. These are the dumbest people, and they get access to the wealth of information. And it's called a wealth of information because you're meant to turn it into value. That's why it's called a wealth of... They get drowned in information. This is like giving... It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They go mad. They eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. This new feed that they've been given.
Yeah.
This very tasty. And they eat and eat and eat and eat and eat without ever looking at the ingredients, the author, the supplier, or if it's actually going to do them any good. These people are just obese idiots with information. Full of gas. Right, no focus. Right, no, nothing to add. Just, I've read your post and now I want to prove you wrong. I've read your post and now I'm going to go onto Google, and I'm going to find something that challenges what you've said. I've read what you put and I don't agree. I've read what you put and I don't... Like it makes any fucking difference. It makes no difference at all on Facebook. Why bother commenting? Nobody gives a shit anyway. People go on Facebook, it's like a kennels. It's like a dog kennels, isn't it? People go on Facebook for a pat on the head. Yeah. And if you don't pat them on the head enough, guess what? They go, hello, hello, you like me, I like you. I've pressed the like button a few times. Hello, I like you. Hello. Hello. And if you don't like them, that's it. That's it. You're out of business. You're a shill. Somebody used to post on my... Arthur Christian, I'll just say the name. Arthur Christian, right? He posted on my Facebook page willy-nilly. I told him straight, Arthur, I don't necessarily agree with what you put in. Your posts are too lengthy, too repetitive, and I don't agree. Did that stop him? Did it? Gibberish. No, it kept going. So I had to change my Facebook settings to stop him. He's been okay about it. It's my wall, it's my information storage point, and it's actually, I don't give a jot if nobody else bothers with it. Because all it's there for is for what I want to use it for. If other people want to comment on what I've done with my library or my psychological profile, well, feel free to do so. But you might find that I won't be commenting on yours, because that's your psychological profile. And I couldn't care less. But I might read it. I might read your psychological profile and learn an awful lot about you. So be careful what you put on there. As for my Facebook page, I don't give a shot whether you like it or you don't. It's of no interest to me whether you like it or you don't. I couldn't care less. A subject that you and I have talked about many times is trading with value, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the people that I've been talking about, they may perceive that they're giving themselves better value and becoming, you know, more valuable to society, and I hope that's true. I hope that's true. I hope you find people who are interested so you can add value. Because interest is to add value to something that already exists.
Yeah.
And people always think it's monetary. But they don't understand yet that monetary is time. Okay, it's what you spend your time doing and what return you get for it. Okay, spend and return is exactly what it's always been. And you spend your time, what return do you get for it, and now does it add value to yourself? Well, it might add value to yourself, but is it of interest to other people? Well, it depends what value you've added.
It does, I would say.
Is it well known by many people? Because the fact that you've just found out that the world's round won't impress many other people. But if it impressed you, then ask yourself, why didn't I know in the first place? Why didn't I know? Because everybody else knew. This weapon of mass deception, when you learn some... I remember in the early days, this country is run as a business. We're actually all been given numbers, and we're technically its employees. Did you know that? You say, well, yeah. But it's a business, and it's run for profit. And you say, well, I bloody well hope so. They should be running it as a business. They should be accounting for it. And they should be running a profit and loss account. And they should be encouraging the people who don't want to produce to get joined in, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So you knew it was a business. Well, it had to be, didn't it, you thick prick? Do you think it was a bloody sweet shop? You see what I mean? You know, it's
a free sweet shop at that.
It's a business, you know.
Yeah.
And the trick is with a person. It's a trick. Well, it's only a trick because you didn't know about it. Like most other people did.
Yeah, it's the magician and the illusion, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the children finding out, isn't it?
Yeah.
That rabbit's in the box under the table, you know. He's got a flap in that hat to pull that rabbit out. Yeah. But you're 3 and 4 and you just figured it out, and your mum and dad go, well, yeah, we knew. Well, you didn't tell us. Well, you're having more fun when we didn't tell you. Adding value. This is what life's all about.
Trading.
It's not about saving money. It's about adding value.
Yeah.
Now, I got given a term that I wasn't aware of just earlier on today or yesterday, whatever it was, and it was transactional analysis. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have a look what transactional analysis is. Pretty straightforward, actually, isn't it? It's like, I thought this would be really good. It's pretty straightforward. And the 4 points to transactional analysis really, of the really simple points, are it's all it's all mind-bending, brain babble stuff. Psychoanalytics, you know, they got into our brains a long time ago.
They have.
You know, they actually released the fact that they understood a lot of how we worked primarily in the 20s and 30s. With Freud and, you know, what Freud was doing previously, and then Edward Bernays, and those books started to appear in the 20s and 30s about, can we use the propaganda that's around in wartime, can we use it to coerce people in peacetime? And they started to print books for the higher levels, by the way.
Yeah, it was,
for the higher levels.
Yeah, the Bertrand Russells
to tell them how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is now almost 18, 90 years ago. Mm-hmm. They decided to tell the next level down how it works and how to benefit and what to get involved with. We didn't know any of this stuff till what? 10, 15, 20 years ago?
I would say less than that, probably 5 years for me.
Well, okay, let's go with...
Yeah.
Recently.
Recently, yeah.
We actually figured that this level of intelligence filtered down to us almost 90 years later.
Yes.
From when they released it.
They released it, yeah.
So when did they learn it? Well, it's already coded in the language, isn't it? Knowing exactly who we are and what we're interested in and how it's all a sex-based system of shared experiences. But the shared experiences have to be of equal value for you to cooperate.
Yeah.
Well, they knew that in the 1700s. Because cooperations and corporations is how it's what it's been all about. They already knew that. They released it into the next level in the early 1900s. And it was given to us to learn 90 years later, nearly. Yeah,
we've been a little bit slow, haven't we?
Who'd have thought it, eh? Who'd have thought it?
I know I've been too slow.
and now we have to be wowed by the 4 states of transactional analysis. In other words, what happens when you meet somebody? how you make judgment calls on who's who and how it works out, how each encounter works out. If I'm okay and you're okay, this is the healthiest position about life, and it means that I feel good about myself and I feel good about others and their competence. So if we both feel like that, we're going to do business and we're going to get along, because equality is that I've got something that I'm happy with and you've got something that you're happy with, and we'll sit and have a chat and see if we've got some business we can do between us. Well, that's life. That's what we hope to achieve, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's not what we always encounter, is it?
Not always.
Not always at all, because of the different levels. I mean, the dumbest that have got the least to say talk the most, don't they?
You seem to do.
I've noticed that, yeah. I know. A closed mind doesn't come with a closed mouth, does it? Point number 2, I'm okay, but you're not okay. In this position, I feel good about myself, but I see others as damaged or less, and this is usually not healthy. Now, this is where I'm starting to sort of see the world. Not starting. I've seen the world like this for quite a while. That I'm actually okay, but I'm looking around, and other people don't seem to be happy with the world, and they don't seem to be happy with themselves. And because we've read so much and studied this quite, you think, well, perhaps if I could just sit and chat to you, perhaps I could get you to sort of see perhaps what you could do differently, and maybe that doesn't work, does it? That doesn't work at all. You try and tell somebody what to do, right? They bloody hate you for it. But then again, do you like being told what to do?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Not really. So what we mean is we have to have a relationship that's okay on both sides.
Yeah.
And then when one person suffers, if the relationship's been okay on both sides at one time, the person who's suffered may well listen.
Well, exactly.
May well listen to the person,
in that trade-off in 2, which is, I'm okay, are you okay? And no, I'm not. I'm not really. They say, why? What's up? Because then you're asking for the question to say.
Well, that's why they've said that they're not okay. Yeah,
that they're not okay. So they've obviously asked for help.
It's
a way of saying, I'm sharing a problem with you.
Yeah, but depending on how well you know them.
Yes,
it depends how well
exactly.
you get, what sort of response you get,
and it depends what value and what trade you can get off.
But what I'm saying is, on Facebook here, when people perceive there's a problem and someone's got it wrong, somebody you've never met, who you don't even know exists, comes steaming on in and says you're wrong there, and here's why. That never goes well, does it? Point number 3. I'm not okay and you are okay. In this position, the person sees him or herself as the weak partner in relationships, as the others in life are definitely better than them. The person who holds this position will unconsciously accept abuse is okay. Now, this is true, isn't it? This is true. Think of an employment situation here.
You've been subservient. Yeah.
If you're less than and lower than.
Yeah.
Now, think of servants and masters. Think of the old servants downstairs and the masters upstairs, and how all the servants wanted to ascend, and the butler was, even though the butler was a servant, he was the highest servant.
He's the go-between.
He was the intermediate, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
The butler was almost dining with him, wasn't he?
Middle management.
But you see what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
The ones that aren't okay, you see yourself as less, and regardless of what people might think, the majority of people, if I put a poor person in a room of rich people, they will act subservient. Yes, sir, of course, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be delighted to help. Anything else I can do for you? I'll be over there if you need me. They'll be perfect servants without being asked.
Yeah,
because they're rubbing shoulders with money and success. You see, the British disease is to say one thing and do another. We'll double cross that bridge when we come to it. That's what the British have done. Come in peace, shoot to kill. The art of war is betrayal and timing. And the people who've got less than, they always want to aspire to have more than. They just know.
Yeah.
I don't. I live on 4-leaf clovers and dandelions. Well, good for you. That's not how all the people around you want to live. They want to live like royalty, because that's why they aspire and copy people who've got more than them. They make an impression and they want to associate themselves with success. And regardless of, I'm not like that, this show's not to you. I'm not talking to individuals. Look around. If you can't see it, you're not awake and you are blind. Point number 4. I'm not okay and you're not okay. This is the worst position to be in, as it means that I believe that I am in a terrible state and the rest of the world is as bad. Consequently, there is no hope for any ultimate supports. Mm-hmm. Is that what happens at the lower end here?
Well, we did have a feeling of that earlier on tonight before we did the show, didn't we?
Well, we had a little bit of a disagreement, actually.
We did have a little bit.
Which was quite nice.
It was to have a...
quite nice.
Yeah.
Because we disagreed on something, and this is the article we're going to come back to.
It will, yeah.
Because we did disagree on it, but we end up in the same place, but we disagreed.
We do, and we will do, because we're different individuals, and you have your own thoughts and views on it, don't you?
Yeah.
And as you said, and we're going to
come back to
that.
It, yeah.
But you've got to sleep yourself at night. You've got to go to bed, and you've got to be able to sleep.
Well, telling lies to ourselves is something that we realised we were doing a little while ago. We were telling fibs to ourselves,
and now I find I'm double checking myself, because I'm thinking I shouldn't be doing that, really. Why am I doing it?
But the fact that when you meet, I'm not okay and you're not okay. Now, we found those people.
We have, yes.
We found those people. We've been to meetings and we found those people, and they're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're everywhere. We went to 2 We Are Change meetings in Leeds. We went to 1 in Liverpool. We went to 2 in Manchester.
Yes.
We went
3
to
in Manchester,
possibly 3 in Manchester. Yeah.
Probably 3 in Leeds as well.
Yeah, and then we went to Bilderberg.
Yes.
We've moved. We went one down to Cheshire, somewhere down.
Yeah.
We've been around.
We have.
We've been to our fair share of meetings to find out how it all worked, who goes, who do you get to talk to, and what we met was, I'm not okay, and you're not okay, are you? And the speaker was saying, we're not okay.
No.
This is not a good start to fix anything.
It isn't. No. We've lost the experiment. We don't experiment anymore, do we? We research. They've swapped those words around, haven't they? Really.
And remove the risk.
Yes,
there's no risk.
There's no risk. No.
That's right. You just research now. You just pick these books up and you read these passages and you copy and repeat and use your own words if you want to. You can make it your own. Change a few things if you want and make it your own.
Yeah.
But it's never going to get published.
No
one's ever going to see it, and we're just going to mark you on it. And the better copy you've become, and the better repeater you've come, and the better you've understood what we've wanted to say to you, right, the more you're going to get rewarded. Please don't think for yourself, but through research, we're trying to convince you that you are. Of course you're not, but we want to make sure that you're not, and you repeat on demand. So please do your own thing, use your own words, and if you use too many of your own words and do your own thing, okay, we probably won't employ you. All right, so try and understand how that works, okay? We tell you to do one thing, but we really want you to do another.
And we've been frightened by experimenters, haven't we? The very book Frankenstein. he was an experiment, frightened the bejesus out of that film, and I watched it when we were a little kid. And
along with Doctor Who.
Yes, and all these people that do experiments, they end up in colossal trouble, don't they? And this is what they've frightened us with. Not realise, and that's in the clip you played there at the beginning, that Arthur Miller. Oh, I didn't know.
Right, Arthur Miller, Marilyn Monroe's husband.
I didn't know that.
Right, okay.
But that was in the 60s.
But that was about mind-bending stuff, about the drugs and about the illusion of happiness.
Subliminally.
Yeah, and that little advert at the end. Because you'll get it subliminally. But, it's... I forgot about the clip I started with.
Yes,
right.
And that's what
Arthur Miller. His name is Arthur Miller.
Yeah,
and he talked about it in the 60s about the mindset, about how we're being deterred, and how we're losing what freedom means to us.
Yeah,
how we're being held back, how we're being given a false sense of happiness and suffering. You ask any artist, any poet, any writer,
songwriters,
and they'll tell you the best work comes often at the very lowest ebbs. And I know personally, at the lowest ebb in my life, I wrote a poem. I wrote it. I know I did. And to this day, I don't know where it is, because my mum found it, and it's in amongst her stuff somewhere, and I've never seen it. It's in my sister's loft. I know what it is. But yeah, I wrote a poem because I did. Have I ever wrote a poem before or after? No. But I sat and wrote a poem. Me and a bottle of vodka sat and wrote a poem. But it was my lowest point. But it was that suffering that taught me where I'd gone wrong.
Yeah.
It taught me how I'd got it wrong. And it hurt, and it hurt, and it hurt. And I damn well made sure that I didn't do that again.
Yeah. Well, you picked yourself up and dust yourself off, didn't you?
We've lost the ability to do that, haven't we?
We have.
We've lost the ability. Now we look externally for not only who's the problem, but who's going to fix it?
We want airbag, parachute, belt and braces. We want everything, don't we? And we think Boeing's going to do it.
We're going to have some fun with this article.
Come back to that.
We'll come back to this article in a minute, but we must remember, I mean, the world is a business.
It is.
Like the fact that we see countries, and all these countries are coloured different colours, and they've all got imaginary lines on, and they've all got their own currency, which are being merged slowly, and their own religions, and the books that they use to support the religions, they're almost identical to the one next door, but different enough to be theirs is right and yours is bloody wrong.
Trade. Tirade.
It is, or a tirade. Back in a minute.
And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone. Am I getting through to you, Mr. Beale? You get up on your little 21-inch screen and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy. There is only IBM and ITT and AT&T and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Those are the nations of the world today. What do you think the Russians talk about in their councils of state? Karl Marx? They get out their linear programming charts, statistical decision theories, Minimax solutions, and compute the price-cost probabilities of their transactions and investments, just like we do. We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business. The world is a business, Mr. Beale. It has been since man crawled out of the slime. And our children will live, Mr. Beale, to see that perfect world in which there's no war or famine, oppression or brutality. One vast and ecumenical holding company for whom all men will work to serve a common profit, in which all men will hold a share of stock, all necessities provided, all anxieties tranquilized, all boredom amused. And I have chosen you, Mr. Beale, to preach this evangel.
Why me?
Because you're on television, dummy. 60 million people watch you every night of the week, Monday through Friday.
I have seen the face of God.
You just might be right, Mr. Beale.
If you were listening to that, listen to it again. 1976. What did he say?
The world's a business.
The world's a business. The film is Network. Most people know it. You haven't seen it.
No, I've not
You're one
seen
of the
that
very
film.
few that haven't seen it. The guy from Network, he figures out what's going on. He figures out it's all illusion. That TV is nothing but a programming. He figures it all out. And he's on TV every single night, shouting and bawling about how the world really works. And that's his boss, explaining to him why he's got to keep doing it. Have a little think about that. Because what we're doing is, we're preparing those who are listening, the very few that are listening, but collectively we're all doing the same thing. We're preparing those around us for what's coming next. We need to ask the questions. What are we doing apart from spreading the future? Are we the tip of the spear? The guys that are the front, the point as it were, where you go ahead and report back what is in the future, what's coming up next. Is that what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the whole system relies on, people like you and I, to latch on to the future and to spread what the future is going to be, but to do it with such an aggression and such an attitude that people laugh rather than likening it to what is already going on, rather than saying, I think the future is going to be a little bit like this. And the way that I've deduced it is because I've looked at how far we are down the road that it seems that we're on.
How far we've come so far, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the main words that are used all over is the dumbing down of society.
Mm.
Most people think that is to reduce in intelligence, to become more pliable, malleable, and stupid, really. And these are all going round. They're going round the actual description of what it really means. And what it really means is to be dumb is to be unable to communicate effectively. The process has begun, and it began over 20 years ago now with text messaging, because we now have most of the Western world, and probably most everybody else, texting and typing as a substitution for talking, and they accept that substitution is as good as, and in most cases preferable to, talking. Now I'm busy organising things here in my little shop because we're having a bit of a refit, but we're smartening the shop up, and it's quite a while since I've done any building projects or any sort of projects of this type. And I figured it was just phone calls and sort of a verbal agreements, that sort of thing. Much more paperwork involved now. All the people that I wish to contract, I have to do it by paperwork, and I have to do it by email. This is new to me. This is new in the past 10, 12 years. Before, you rang them up, you chatted to them, you got the name. We didn't use email. You just came to see you, and you sat and had a cup of tea, and you made a plan, and it happened. But now it's all paperwork, all done via email, and it's very slow compared to how it used to be. It's really slow. And you have to pay really early. Nobody does anything unless you pay a substantial deposit.
Yeah.
Not just a tenner, not 20 quid.
No.
You have to pay a substantial deposit to get anybody to do anything. So the paperwork required is considerably more than it would be.
Yeah.
It's because we don't trust each other, isn't it?
I know. I don't like taking deposits. People and customers have asked me, "Do you want a deposit?" And I say, "No, I don't. You pay on completion if that's okay."
Well, you should stage it. You know that, don't you?
I know. Yeah.
You should stage it. Stage it.
To be honest, the bigger jobs I do, I have to. I've hopefully got a bigger job coming up, and we've talked schedules and stage payments, which that's the way it's got to go.
It's changed for me. You know, just actually conducting business by email is new for me. It's slow, and it's time consuming, and your printer runs out of ink, and then you can't sign things online, and you have to scan it, and all of a sudden you become a solicitor. You have to check all and you think, oh my word, this is haven't things changed over the past 12 years since I've done this?
Yeah, it's meant to speed it up, and it actually
slows it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does exactly what it doesn't say on the tin.
It does, yeah. It's backwards, isn't it?
But the future, the dumbing down of society, because of the electronic babysitters and all the entertainment methods we have, we join social networks and spend most of our time alone. But we feel like we're actually connected to somebody, something all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to continue, isn't it? If we look around now at what we have and what we started with mobile phones, didn't we? We started with mobile phones, and it was called, in America it's called a cell phone, and here it's called a mobile phone. And these are not mistakes. A cell in America is not only the smallest blood molecule in your body, but it's also a prison. Well, we have the same things here. We call them prison cells.
We do.
But this is a mobile phone. So this is in contrast to a prison cell. Well, a mobile phone is the illusion of being mobile. You can sit at home and speak to anybody anywhere in the world. And all mobile phones are powered by a simulation card. Shortened to SIM card, but it's a simulation card. And we know simulation, is a virtual representative of. That's what it is.
It is.
It's a representative of, but it's a virtual representative of.
You're simulating it.
It's pretend.
It's pretend.
It's basically pretend. You know what I mean? We're actually playing. We're being immersed into a childish game of pretend. But it's childish that we believe it, but it's not childish that it's infantile, because this is going to take us right to the end of this version of humanity. And from 100 years from now, what we'll be living in will not be anything like we have and we still recognise and we're holding on to today.
No.
Humanity as we know it will not exist, because what's been removed is our conscience. Our ability to feel guilt, to feel responsibility, to feel duty, to have an instinctive response.
Instinct, yes.
It's all been taken away.
It is.
Our ability to actually be independent is almost gone. We can't provide the things we need for survival, so we have to work for the machine. So it gives us the credits.
It gives us those things.
It gives us the credits, so we can give them the credits back for our survival. The last thing, the very last thing, and we've said this before many times, to be taken control of is water. It is our clean water supply. Now, I don't really know enough about fracking to actually tell you more than you already know, but I will not be surprised at any point in the future if the truth about fracking goes a little bit like this. The gas returns are nowhere near what we expected. In fact, fracking has been a loss-making venture, but the result of fracking has been maybe what they intended from the start, to contaminate the very method of recycle that actually supports the number of life on this planet. Because in the oceans we have salt water, and Mother Nature has worked it out well before we got here, that through the sunshine, the sun and the sea combined together.
The ultraviolet light killing the germs.
We figured this. We're understanding how she worked it.
Yes.
She figured out Mr. Sunshine, God's very own sun, the light of the earth. If God's sun doesn't rise, we shall all die. The giver of eternal life. We figured out that God's sun evaporated the hydrogen and oxygen, but left the salt behind. The hydrogen and oxygen lifted into the air, formed clouds, which were blown inland, which then rained upon the land that we live on. And over time, the rains collected and formed streams to form rivers, and those rivers formed the perfect recycling method because the earth filtered the rain and supported life on land. And all rivers, the mouth of each river, its final destination, is back to where it came from.
The tribute.
Correct.
The trophy.
And they want the ultimate control of water.
They do.
They've already got the possibility of geoengineering it and deciding who they reign upon.
Who gets it and who doesn't.
Who is reigned over.
Yes.
And the word reign doesn't just sound like R-E-I-G-N. It's meant to sound like R-E-I-G-N. Because in this country, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a top-down controlled monarchy.
We do.
And she reigns over us.
She does.
But she reigns selectively.
She does.
She can decide who she reigns over, and by that I mean
which subject she's
who she
reign
provides his liquidity to.
Yeah.
Who she provides her liquidity to. It's that liquid, it's that cash flow that allows the seed to soak and grow. Success is defined on who she reigns on, not over. On. They have been picking winners and losers.
They have.
By the sheer language that we speak. Forever. And for her to pretend to be just a sweet old grandma who sells plates and trots around the world, smiling with little kids and taking flower is rubbish. It's always rubbish. Now, whether she's a sleeping partner for the Crown of London, who knows? The City of London, the corporation it is. Whether she's the figurehead, the front of the ship. Whether she is just the figurehead now and she has in place a full team of people to run it on her behalf, that's probably true. It's probably true. You know, if you look back in history, 100 years ago from today, really, 100 years ago, there were less minions looking after the East India Trading Company, all the business from India. There were less minions looking after all the business to do with India than there is currently in charge of the Isle of Wight. So if you want to see how bureaucracy works, it's called bureaucracy, but you might as well hear the real word it's called: corruption. Okay? It's how we steal off people. And the reason why governments always grow and grow and grow and grow is because corruption has to pay corruption has to pay corruption.
It does, yeah.
You know, if you know you're employing corrupt people because you want them to do corrupt things, then you have to give them a little bit of share of the spoils. It's like spies. If you employ a team of spies, you've got to employ another covert team of spies to make sure your spies are doing what you're paying for. You see what I mean by that?
I do, yeah.
You cannot trust one set of people.
No.
You must have the watchers watching the watchers watching the watchers.
Yeah, we've got MI5,
That's
MI6 and GCHQ.
That's why things are so expensive.
The Holy Trinity.
Exactly. But what's happening now is that through the rights and stuff that, well, through the liberties that we don't realise are being taken away from us.
No.
We're allowing the government complete access, complete transparency into our lives. We have had some privacy in the past, but now we don't seem to put any value on it.
No.
And you can't buy it back once it's been given away. You can't have it back. If you go on Facebook, you realise you're reading everybody else's post. Well, of course, you wouldn't have normally read anybody's post in the old-fashioned days.
No, you just read your own.
But why did email? Why did they create email first? So they could open your post without you knowing.
Without you knowing, yeah.
They had to figure out a way of reading your communications without you realising that it was set up to read your communications. So they had to give it to you for free. So they knew they were going to bankrupt the post office.
Yeah.
So they did. They knew they were going to. Because we'd got a new method of sending mail. Well done to them. But we didn't realise what we were giving up then, did we?
We didn't at the time.
We didn't know we were starting.
No.
Despite all the cameras, who most people think is there to keep us safe. But of course the opposite is true.
It is.
It's to keep them safe.
Keep them safe, yeah.
It's to keep them safe. We now know that the access they have is irreversible. Only irreversible that we don't challenge it.
Yeah.
But the stupidity of the public is now becoming absolutely embarrassing. It really is. You know, last week's news story that I picked up on and tried to share with you, you know, doctors are now going to charge for appointments. Why are doctors going to charge for appointments? Because some people missed them.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, does it?
Doesn't, no.
Right, it should be charged for the ones who missed them. No. Doctors are going to charge for appointments because some people missed them. So the people who are innocent are paying for the ones that are guilty.
Yeah.
Well, this is backwards.
It is backwards, yeah.
Well, the future's more of the same. The future's more of the same. The future is more of electronic babysitters.
Yeah.
Reading and writing, that's going to disappear. Writing has almost disappeared now.
It certainly has, yeah. I don't do as much as I used to do.
But the kids that are starting school now, they're not going to need to write.
They're not having to write essays and things,
they're going to copy and paste.
Yeah.
They're going to copy and paste and pick what they like.
Yeah.
Because education is going to change. It's going to change in a way that this education system isn't working. We need to allow kids to pursue the things they're interested in. Well, after 20 or 30 years of electronic babysitters, they're going to be interested in what the internet has to offer.
Yeah.
They're not going to be interested in other things.
No.
Because this is going to be the teacher. So they're going to be interested in finding out what other people already know.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to make them any better
No.
than what it is they're interested in.
No.
In other words, we've come to a perfect point where the teacher, which we might as well call the internet, has worked out a system where you can never know more than them. Because the way it works is, the teacher sets the subject, then gives you the internet to research it on, knowing that there's nothing on there to challenge their position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly does.
Now, as we become less and less capable of looking after ourselves, the services that are available to us, bringing things to our houses, are going to increase.
Mm-hmm.
The takeaways, the supermarkets, it won't be long before the off licenses are delivering.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be long before the laundry services will be coming along, and we'll be using them. I'll tell you, we'll be using them. We already won't care for we won't care for our older people, because either we're too busy working to pay for the care, or we just don't want to really.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is that we're working harder and harder and harder to actually do less and less.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? We're trying to make our lives easier, but we work harder to make our lives easier. It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense when the world is geared, pay more, get less.
Yeah.
So the wheel's always going to spin faster.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how hard you work, the number of bills you can pay will slowly reduce. Well, that's the idea. This monetary system is guaranteed to bankrupt everybody.
Yep.
Slowly. It needs you to constantly improve, but then sets up a system where you can't, because the tools that you have to improve who you are have been given to you by the system that wants to keep you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is just education, but you can sit at home and do it yourself.
Yeah.
But you can't educate yourself higher than those providing it.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to say. You're stuck at a level there, aren't you?
You're kept in your own box.
Because you're not experiencing.
You're kept in your own box. You can fight as you want.
With all
you can box and fight.
Sharing with others.
But this is a box of matches.
Mm.
Okay? It's just matches. In other words, the same.
Yeah.
It's a box of likes.
Mm.
A box of matches. And all you have to do is like each other, and you've found a match.
Mm. Now,
that match can be a match made in heaven, or a match made in hell, and you can start striking each other.
Mm.
You can light the light, or strike a blow. Because you light a match and blow it out. Which is it? Light or darkness? This is a match of boxes. Or a box of matches. It's not by mistake, is it?
It isn't, no.
We're giving things away without knowing that they're ours to give away.
We are slowly letting them.
Well, we're looking at the world brain being built now, which is the internet. Don't blame Google. Google's just making money. Google's interested in it, and same as Facebook. It's all the same gang. You know as corporations, we know as cooperations. These people cooperate when it suits and compete when they can. But cooperation is the key to success here.
Yeah.
All teams have to cooperate at some point to become a team. You can't. That's why we can't assemble a team.
No,
because we've got a ragbag team of people who know nothing, but they want patting on the head and rewarding for doing nothing. They know nothing, have nothing, do nothing, and think they can save themselves when they haven't got a penny to bless themselves with. Right? There is not an invention that exists that a poor person's made. You've got to have something to back yourself up with.
You have.
If you want to be mobile, you need to have something. Now, what have you saved and what have you spent? I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about your life. Your life. You've spent however many years. What have you got to show for it?
Yeah.
How intelligent are you? How smart are you?
Yeah, what value have you added to it?
Exactly. Well, it's easy now because the internet makes you think that you are something you aren't. This is the internet of answers. The internet of, I know something you don't know, and I'm going to tell you, and then you're not going to value it, and I'm going to blame you for not understanding why I think you should value it.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It is.
They've just learned it 5 minutes ago. If you look at the Google Glass setup, it is going to be a world beater. There's no doubt about it. Because the Google Glass is the last little bit to get to where they want to go. Above your right eye you'll have a little screen, and behind your ear you'll have an audio connection, just a little pad behind your ear, from what I understand. And this transmits the audio into your ear, obviously into your ear, into your head. So you can hear what's going on the screen, but you can still hear quite clearly what's going on around you as well. And once you make friends with this Google Glass, it will always be listening to the conversations you're having. And it will be able to provide you with information while the conversation is going along. You see, now I said confirmation on purpose, because that's how you're going to talk. Because you're going to speak, and the screen is going to be so damn fast that as you're talking, the topics will be coming up all the time. And you won't make a mistake. And because you're going to be first with this Google Glass, you'll have access to all that is known at the time you want to know it. Spoken in your own language. Delivered by an angel of light to make you a superhuman.
You'll think you're copying right.
And you will think, you will be convinced that your access to 24/7, omnipotent, all-knowing, all-answering, you will be able to stand your ground on any subject. The Internet of Answers, slowly but surely, will collate the answers and start removing them until there's just 2 or 3 answers left. So they can manage the different people. Well, I like brown sauce, well, I like red sauce. Because they want it down to 2 or 3 different parties, just like politics.
Yeah.
The answers slowly will be removed.
It'll take away your ability to think, won't it?
It's going to finish, it'll finish off the ability to remember.
To remember, yeah.
You won't need to remember.
You won't.
Because this thing is going to say, I've got your diary. I can pay your electric bill. I'll remind you of your gas bill. I can open your emails. I can tell you who and where everybody is. I can let you know when Dorothy Perkins have got a sale on. I can let you know about special offers here. I can let you know about special offers over there. And here's the last thing that's going to come in. It'll be on 24/7 record.
Yeah.
It'll be on record all the time.
Well, it'll have an alarm clock on it, won't it?
It'll be. You won't actually ever want to lose it.
That's right. You won't be putting your mobile phone under the pillow anymore.
But here's the record. It'll be recording video and audio, and you will be able to do what everybody's doing. You'll be able to make your own film.
Total recall.
It'll be total recall. You can go back a day. You can go back a week. You can go back a year. You will be able to see your life and check and go back and relive in real time again and again and again.
And you'll have nothing to hide, will you, anyway?
You won't care. You won't care. You honestly will not care.
No.
They will absolutely love it.
Yep.
Every fun time you've had, you'll be able to go back and relive. But you won't remember it because you'll ask to see it again. It'll be like going to pictures and watching Grease 15 times. You couldn't take Grease home, but you kept going to watch it. And you won't have to remember a thing about how much, except that you enjoyed it. This takes away the requirement to remember. And the difference between a good computer and a bad computer is its memory capability.
Size of memory, yeah.
And eventually, when you can't remember a thing, why did they need you again? It's quite scary, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We talk about things we've lost, and we talk about rights. And we're going to have a little go here about, these are political rights.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be ignored. And I know we've got so far down the line now of politics being, it's the very problem, isn't it? It's the very, we know now politics is the reason that we're in trouble. Because the very worst have been given the ability to rule our lives in a way that is beneficial for them. And they don't really care how it works out for us at all.
No.
Now, I've said, these are the puppets, the politicians are the puppets. But they're also the evildoers. They've also sold out.
Yeah.
They have to sell out.
Mm-hmm.
They've been compromised, and I think it's now obvious to most people that the very most powerful in politics are compromised for sure. And I think we can guess that it's a sexual compromisation, and those pictures and those things are there to hold and be held over them for a long time, for their entire lives.
Yeah.
There has to be a compromise, because otherwise they wouldn't do it. And it's the conscience, isn't it? It's they aren't born with a conscience, like they don't feel guilty about it.
No.
Because they see us in a way that we don't see ourselves, that we are silly. And we do ask mummy and daddy, which is big government. We're so far gone now in taking responsibility for our own lives in a way that we provide anything for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been so much immersed in what has been bad education that even after all this time, I don't know what's true and what isn't. I don't know what's true and what isn't. And if people go back and listen to the shows over a year ago, we couldn't decide what to do with this truth word. What we're going to do with this truth word, because it's a dangerous thing to have, because it doesn't appear to be the same for everybody. And the minute you think you've got a hold of it, it's a slippery customer, and it's off again. But I do want to finish this evening with Police State UK. And the reason why they call it a police state is not the checkpoints. It's because they're creating... Everybody's a policeman. Everybody is a policeman around you. Everybody is they take no... They're not embarrassed at all to tell you that you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be saying that. And they walk past your car and check and see if your car's taxed. But have a little look and see if your tyres have got a bit of tread on.
Yeah.
Everybody's a policeman. Everybody's got an opinion. And it is true. It is. They're creating a police state where we actually will grass other people up.
Yeah.
Because they're doing wrong. You see now, Gary Barlow doesn't pay the tax he should, because he employs accountants, right? Like every MP, right?
Yes.
Like everybody else. He employs accountants, okay? To manipulate the rules and avoid paying tax. Has he broke the law? No, he hasn't broken the law. What do all his fans say? He should pay. Should pay. Don't see why he should get special treatment. He should pay. Those are nasty little people. Now, I'm not saying Gary Barlow should avoid tax or shouldn't avoid tax. The fact of the matter is that Gary Barlow is not the only one guilty of not paying what he should be paying.
No.
Right, and Majesty's Revenue and Customs, okay, there are loopholes. Are those loopholes left for those that can benefit from them?
Yes.
I'm jolly well sure that could be true. And after you've sang for Prince Charles, okay, after you've done the children in need thing, after you've been the perfect servant and got the OBE, who's to say that Gary Barlow wasn't given, this is who you should be using for your accounts now.
Accounts now, yeah.
You use them for your tax purposes now, because you've crossed the Rubicon. You've come over to our side.
Yeah.
And only little people pay taxes. Well done, Gary. You're with us now, so you don't have to pay the same taxes. Is that what's happened?
Quite possibly.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
We do have accountants and chartered accountants. Now, a lot of people don't know the difference, but a chartered accountant is up on the tax law. They have to go and sit the exams on a regular basis and go to the seminars and be briefed on what the new tax laws are. Your local little accountant he's not chartered. He's not on the same level as your chartered accountant.
I don't have an accountant. I have a tax advisor.
Yes, best way.
It is true. In business, it's due diligence. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Don't go down to the local stuffy old office to the guy who's a little older and smells a bit old-fashioned in there. In business, it's due diligence. Employ the people you think that can represent your needs and provide the service that you need. Gary Barlow, I don't care about Gary Barlow's tax law. I couldn't care less about his tax bill.
Me neither.
And I wish people cared less about his tax bill and more about Vodafone and people like that.
Yeah.
Okay, more about what's really going on. But they're not. They want to pick on Gary Barlow because it's Gary Barlow, and he's like us, isn't he? So he's doing too well, isn't he? Who knows? Who knows? But we've forgotten what rights are. We have forgotten what rights are. Now, recent decades have seen civil liberties. We don't even know what civil liberties are, and these are, well, this is just another word really for political freedoms. And the word politics now turns so many people off that if you try and move on with the word political freedoms, you might as well be talking about something that people really aren't interested in. And I'll talk slow, and I've only got 40 pages to go, and I'll give you a knock when I've finished. You know what I mean? It's a bit like that, isn't it? You can't get people inspired at all now. And yet, the political freedoms, I mean, we're going back to 1100. Is it Henry the First?
It's Henry the First.
You know, and this is right back to the English Charter of Liberties, which people were fighting for in 1100. This is where the king didn't have carte blanche to do what he liked. 1100 they'd put up, they'd recognised that the king couldn't get away with what he was doing because people said we've had enough. Now God knows how many people lost their lives for the king to even notice that they had enough.
Yeah.
And then we get Magna Carta, and then we go through a really dark time that wasn't good for us. Wasn't, as usual, wasn't good for us. But these political freedoms, because we don't exercise them, and because we don't challenge them, and because we don't bother making our public servants respect our wishes and serve our needs, then they don't. They just don't. And the cowards' ways say, "Oh, waste of time. Doesn't matter who you vote for. Doesn't matter." These are people, right, who turn their back on every challenge that means they have to do something. These are people who turn away. They turn away from the challenge because they've found an excuse that tells them it's not worth it. I won't win, so I'm not fighting. Well, the reason you won't win and the reason you won't fight is primarily because you're a coward. But secondly, it's because we can't get a big enough team together.
No, we can't.
Because we're too busy bitching.
That is the problem, yeah.
We're too busy bitching about Gary Barlow's bloody tax bill.
Yeah, and what the other teams have put together.
But what nasty little people we are. What nasty, vicious little people we are. And yet, the political freedoms is what's allowed us to actually live and say and be who we are today.
Yeah.
If we lose our political freedoms to the point that we're going to lose them, this show we won't be able to talk like this.
No.
We will not be able to talk like this. We just won't.
No.
Freedom of speech is being curtailed now.
It is.
I mean, never mind you UKIP voters. I don't know if you're a UKIP voter or if you like UKIP. UKIP are just the same as all the rest. They had the police visiting people who were saying unpleasant things about them. They were sending they complained to the police about one guy in particular, okay, and this guy just put up his opinions. The police visited his house. You can't do that. He challenged them, but the police were around to his house because UKIP had complained.
Yeah, that's all you have to do is put a complaint in. I know that.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
So an offence has taken place because I'm offended.
I'm offended. Yeah.
It's like that radio guy. He played The Sun Has Got His Hat On, and with the N-word in it. But he didn't know the N-word was in the original, and he's got sacked because he played the N-word. But only white people get sacked for racism.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah.
Brown people can't be racist.
No.
Because that's spelt with an A. Then it's Niggar, or just A. So they can say it. And although it sounds the same, the spell is that it isn't. Only white people can be racist, remember? It's quite scary, actually, where we are.
Yeah.
But apparently, who gives a shit?
Well,
who gives a shit, apparently? Because nobody does.
That would be the case, yeah. And that was a little row that we had earlier between us, wasn't it?
Well, it was about voting next Thursday.
It was about voting, yeah. And I've always been in two minds about the devil on your shoulder, the good guy on one shoulder and the devil on the other. And
yeah, but one of us is the right to vote.
It is yes,
that's one of our civil our political freedom. It's the right. It doesn't make any difference. Well, first of all, have you voted?
Right, and I haven't voted for a long time. No.
Right, so it's not going to make any difference because you haven't voted.
The last time I voted was for Tony Blair.
But where we are today now, because you've openly admitted a number of times now that the person you were and the way you saw the world,
yes,
it's changed somewhat.
It has, and I'll expand on that because I was. It was when we went into the Gulf War with it was Major and Bush Junior, Bush Senior, and we went into the first Gulf War. And I remember saying, What the hell are we sending troops in there for? We've got neutron bombs now. We've got tactical nuclear missiles. We don't need to. We just obliterate them, wipe them out, wipe out this Taliban lot. Just get rid of them, and not realising that we'd put them in there. It was as we'd done with the Shah of Iran, Idi Amin, Ceausescu.
But the reason you didn't know this is because the people you thought would tell you.
Yes.
Guess what? They didn't tell you.
No. Tony Blair just smiled his way through it all.
Second one,
and he's trying to do it again. But yeah, and it isn't until you're older and you see through these things, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not voting at the moment. There's nobody to vote for. And I take your point, what you said earlier about, you could vote tactically, and I did one year. I went and I crossed all the boxes. I crossed every box.
But that gets thrown away.
And I just wrote on it,
but none
of them are worth voting for.
You're right. We've gone through the whole... We've both gone through the stages of...
Yes.
Did vote, didn't change.
Yeah.
Stop voted, never change.
Changed.
Now we've come to the point of... How do we actually change anything?
How do we change it then?
Well, the answer is it's not by doing nothing.
No, it isn't by doing nothing, no.
Now, the thing is that you're going to meet people in who don't understand what we know. We're going to meet people who don't... And are not going to learn what we know. And you're going to have two choices when they ask you this question, because they're going to ask you this question, because they've been programmed to say, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. So when they say, if you're politically criticising,
yes,
when they say to you,
did you vote?
Do you vote?
Yes.
Now, you're either going to have to lie to them to get over what they're going to say to you next, or you're going to have to say, yes, I have. And I voted independent. And I realised that it probably wasn't going to be a winning vote. But I voted with my conscience. I voted what I thought was the least of the evils that were available. I know who the independent is, because I can throw stones at a house from where I'm sat now. Where I'm sat in my house now, I can throw stones at her house. So I know who the independent is. I know she's probably unlikely to win or get heard. But I'm doing what my conscience and my heart says I should. So when people ask me, I've walked the bloody walk. It's like mobile phones. I criticise mobile phones. And people say, well, you'll have one. I say, yeah. But I haven't had one for the past 14 months. I actually decided mobile phones were not for me. So 14 months ago, I switched it off. And I haven't bloody got one. So, you do walk the walk. Yeah, I do. And if you talk about water, you should filter your water. So, do you filter? Yeah, I do filter my water. Do you use cash? I use cash all the time. Simple things. Do you try and use your local shop? Yes, I do. I pay a little bit more and spend an awful lot more less, a lot less, because I buy bloody less. I mean, in this country, when we go shopping, 30% of what we buy, we throw away.
We throw it in the bin, yeah.
I mean, we're some sort of special stupid people, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, time's getting on. But look at what look at the civil liberties that we're ignoring. We're ignoring these civil liberties. Are you ready? I'll give you a quick rundown of them. First of all, the right to vote. If we don't vote, right, they don't care. Believe me, they don't give a shoot if we don't vote, because they can take it away. So you're not interested in voting, so we'll take it away. Now, we're not going to, because the charade's all fun for everybody. It's great fun for everybody involved. Keeps the MPs on their toes. And it's great fun.
Yeah.
So it'll last a lot longer, I know that. But what happens if they just say, that's it, dictatorship, we're going back to monarchy, we're going back to top-down rule, voting's gone.
Do as you're told.
Yeah. It's do as you're told, or I will bloody shoot you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And you get this much money, and you can spend it on this, that and the other.
Well, that's where we're going, isn't it? That's where it's going.
It's where we're going. We're going for... Well, once they've got the cash offers that we can't... And
millions of people died for this stuff.
They did, yeah.
I mean, whether we can argue whether they were right or wrong. Well, we wouldn't be sat here today talking like we do now.
No.
If they hadn't died for a cause. Are we prepared to die for it? No, we bloody not, are we?
No.
No, we bloody
no,
not.
I won't.
No.
No.
No. Will you dig a trench in January? Yeah. Will you? Will you dig a trench in January and defend it? Will you defend Yorkshire? Will you? Will you go and jump on a plane or jump on a ship? Will you? Will you join Dad's army? And will you please? No, you won't. No, we won't. Will we? No, we bloody won't.
No.
rightly or wrongly, if you ever dare criticise somebody who took part in World War II, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because the reason you've got what you've got now, and whether you're working or whether you're not working, you're still living, you're still eating, and you're still warm, and you're still safe. They died to make sure that you've got that. Now, rightly or wrongly, we can look back at the Second World War now. We can make some new discoveries about the Second World War.
Yes, that were available at that time.
But the discovery that we need to remember is that they didn't have that.
No.
And they still were prepared to die.
They were, yeah.
If they had known what we know now, maybe it would have been different. But it wasn't. And it isn't. So it happened. Millions died. And to ignore what they died for is ridiculous. And that's what got my goat today. That someone said, not bothered. Not bothered, not interested, couldn't care less. And that's right to vote, right to life. Now this is interesting, right to life. A right to life and the human's right. What happens if we just said these human rights things? We're just scrapping them all?
Yeah.
I've got my right to it. I'm born with natural, inalien. Is it in or unalien? Is it inalien?
Yeah.
Or, who? Is it in or un? I can't remember. You know what I mean? This is how stupid we are. I'm born with natural rights. Right, they're my rights. You can't take them away, they're mine. Right, okay? And now what are you going to do with them? Now what are you going to do? Right? Well, they're mine. Okay. Without money. What are you going to do with them? Without money, what are you going to do? Yeah. What are you going to do? Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's the big one that they need to. That's all they need.
You can't do shit if you haven't got money.
You can't, no.
You can make a bloody noise. That's it. Oh, they already do that. Yap, 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 yap. The prohibition of torture. Right. So we're not bothered if they just bring torture back, eh? Not bothered. Not bothered. Well, it won't be me because I've done nothing wrong. I've got nothing to hide. This is going back to the dark ages, my friend. We are being submerged, immersed.
Yeah.
This is the second great flood.
Yeah.
The dark times are coming back.
Yeah.
Because the people are too stupid. They're too stupid to know what happens when the lights goes off. They're becoming dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And the devil in the darkness is going to shut that bedroom door and he's going to bloody have his way with you. And whether you believe me or not, it might be you. It might not be you. But the devil's going to close that door and he's going to bloody have his way with you. Because this is what happens. When history goes dark, it doesn't get recorded. No one bloody knows. Security of the person, that's gone. Security of the person's gone.
It has, yeah.
Right, you've no security at all.
No.
They know everything about you. Any thought that you have that they're not happy with, you eventually will get told, hey, warning number 1. Warning number 2. Okay, set you switched off. You cannot work, you cannot fly, you cannot travel, and you cannot eat or drink or trade unless we say so. The security, you've given away your security of person.
Yeah.
There's no privacy.
No, it isn't.
Well, what do you think your security person is? It's your privacy. It's your value. They can come and drag you away because guess why? Secret bloody courts. We've got secret courts now, haven't we?
Yep.
And the process of law has been turned around. You're now guilty unless you can afford to prove yourself innocent. Recent cases have proved that.
They have, yes.
You see, the CPS, the Criminal Protection System, right? Okay? They can bring a case against you, and if you lose, you pay them. But if they bring a case against you, and you're innocent, you're innocent.
You still pay them
because they don't pay your costs.
No.
You're still going to pay your legal team of getting that verdict for you. So they're in a we can't lose situation. So they can bring anybody, they can bring charges against anybody, and it doesn't matter whether you're actually innocent or guilty. They just want to know that you've got the ability to pay. Look at Freddie Starr. I mean, I don't know Freddie Starr. I don't know anything about him. But the guy's innocent. Look, Michael Lavelle.
Yeah.
Innocent. Do they get the money back? No, they bloody well don't. No. the freedom of expression and the freedom of association is something that we actually think can never be taken away. It will be, unless we fight for it. And it'll all be done on the internet, because we're looking for it outside. But the censorship will be done on here.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's where it's going to be. Because virtual reality is where we're going to end up. We need to stand up for something. We need to be who we're meant to be. And if we're doing... this is what we're born to be. We're born to be men. To stand up. To be proud. And even if we're wrong in a way, we're wrong for the right reasons, and you accept you're wrong. Even if voting's not the way forward, you do what you think, and you do what you can, and you sleep with yourself, and you honour yourself and your family and your conscience.
Modern psychology has a word that is probably used more than any other word in psychology. It is the word maladjusted. It is the ringing cry of modern child psychology, maladjusted. Now, of course, we all want to live the well-adjusted life in order to avoid neurotic and schizophrenic personalities. But as I move toward my conclusion, I would like to say to you today, in a very honest manner, that there are some things in our society and some things in our world for which I'm proud to be maladjusted. And I call upon all men of goodwill to be maladjusted to these things until the good society is realized. I must honestly say to you that I never intend to adjust myself through racial segregation and discrimination. I never intend to adjust myself to religious bigotry. I never intend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few and leave millions of God's children smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society.
There we are then. Another Tuesday.
Words. Yeah.
Mr. Luther King. We can play cowards by pretending that all that we talk about, it doesn't matter really. We can't change anything. We can go on Facebook and we can pretend that this is the way, but I'm safe. I'm fighting equality on my sofa and Mum's making tea. This is a life that we would never have had if we didn't stand up and defend for it. We've got to defend it and we've got to fight for it, because they want to take it away. Let's make no mistake, they actually hate us.
They do.
They want to take everything away from us. And the last thing they're going to take from us is our spirit. The very essence that makes us want to live and be alive. They're not having mine.
No, mine neither. Or my kids, if I can help it.
Save yourself, save your family.
Yeah.
And do what you can. For another Tuesday.
It's good night from me.
Good night from me.